Hey guys, it's Sean Johnny, your trusted realtor, and today we're going to have a look at the listing agreement. What's in the agreement and what you should be looking for before you sign. But before we jump into that, if you want to be the first to know about Mississauga real estate news, to view great home tours, or get information on the process of buying and selling, then please subscribe to our channel. Remember, I'm speaking to people like you every day, and whether you're looking to move in 9 days or 9 years, I'd love the opportunity to create a relationship with you now. And then when the time is right, when you're ready to transact, be there to help you in the process. The first form that you should be receiving when you're going to list your home is the Reco Information Guide. This is a new form that was created in 2024, and the guide is meant to help explain the sales process, who's representing who, and the different things that you, the consumer, should be looking for in the transaction. It spells out what are the benefits of working with a real estate agent and what are their responsibilities to you. It speaks to the risks that you will take if you try to represent yourself in a real estate transaction. It describes what signing a listing agreement or a buyer representation agreement means to you. It explains multiple representation in the case that your realtor is representing both the buyer and the seller. And finally, it explains how you, the consumer, can make a complaint against your realtor. This form was created to bring greater transparency to all real estate transactions. It's the hope of the real estate boards that you will have reviewed this and signed it before entering into any other agreement with a realtor. This form should be provided to both buyers and sellers by their agents before any other paperwork is signed. So the first form we're going to go over is the listing agreement, or the seller representation. The first line of this agreement should clearly state the name of the brokerage that will be representing you. Please note that when you're signing a listing agreement, you are signing with the brokerage and not with the agent. The agent is a representative of the brokerage, but your agreement is with the brokerage, not the agent. The second line should clearly state the name of the seller or sellers. Every individual who is on title must be listed in this portion. The correct spelling of your name should be there, and it should be the same as it is on title. So if you use a short form in normal life, whatever's on title has to be on the agreement. Next, we're going to have the legal address. Now here's where it starts to get interesting. We're going to go on the commencement date and the expiration of the listing agreement. There is a clause that must be initialed that the listing brokerage has explained to the seller that the length of the term of the agreement is negotiable. Again, this is new this year, so that the seller is warned that the length of term is negotiable, but it is also binding. Now, the Toronto Real Estate Board rules will not allow a listing agreement to be under 2 months long. So the minimum time for it to be posted on the Toronto Real Estate Board is a 2-month agreement. Now, when you're negotiating the terms of the agreement or the length of that agreement, some agents may ask for a slightly longer period of time, and that's going to be sort of dependent on the money that they're spending. So if they've completely staged your house, they've brought in furniture, they've put some funds in, they're doing a lot of marketing, they may expect a little bit longer time to be able to sell that house since they've laid out, a certain amount of money. Now, please be aware as the seller that once this agreement is signed, you are tied to it for that term. If you're unhappy with the services of your realtor, you're still legally bound to that agreement, and they do not have to let you out of it until the time that it has expired. Sometimes a brokerage will give you a different realtor if you're unhappy, but they normally will not just let you out of the agreement. Next, there's a clause that must be initialed by the sellers, and it's in bold print, which states that the seller is not under contract to another agency with another listing agreement. So again, if you had agreed upon a listing agreement with another realtor, you cannot come and sign with a new realtor until that one is expired. Next, there's a statement that there is a Schedule A to the listing agreement. The Schedule A will outline what services are being provided by the listing brokerage, including the extent of their marketing, if they will be staging or not, if there will be help with repairs or painting, and all this should be laid out in the Schedule A. So there's no misunderstanding between the brokerage and the seller what they're providing in the course of the listing. So for the purpose of the video, we're only going to go over the things and the portions that the agent can change. So we're going to skip ahead to number 2 in the agreement. And this is the commission portion. Now, the first part of this will lay out what the total commission is that you will be paying on the sale of your home. There is a line after it which also allows for any special agreements that are made to be noted in this agreement. You know, something along the lines of, if the listing agent also represents the buyer, then there will be a commission reduction of X amount. That's a normal one that will go into that portion. Now remember also there is HST on all commissions, so factor that in when you're looking at those numbers. The next spot that can be filled in states the amount of the total commission that will be shared with the agent that brings the buyer. So let's say you're paying 5% commission. From that 5%, 2.5% will go to the buying agent. And finally, there's a spot for the holdover period. Now, we typically see is 60, 90, or 120 days, but this is negotiable. And what this states is that anyone who has been introduced to the house by your realtor during the listing period, if they were to come and try to purchase the home at the end of the listing, let's say the house didn't sell, the listing is over, and they come afterwards and try to purchase the house with you, that the agent would still be able to get his commission if they did that in the first 60, 90, or 120 days. So now skipping over to page 3, there's a portion that you must initial, and this portion says that once this agreement expires, if the house didn't sell and it expires, you do not want to be contacted by all 100,000 members of the Toronto Real Estate Board to try and get your listing. So if you initial that you do not want to be contacted after it expires, then the agents are not supposed to bother you. And if you don't initial, then you're open game to all agents soliciting. Finally, there's an acknowledgement that you'll have to sign. This states that you did receive a copy of this agreement from your realtor. So this is the listing agreement explained, and it's probably the most important document that you'll sign when you're listing your home, other than the agreement of purchase and sale, hopefully. But there are a couple other documents that go along when signing the listing, and we're going to quickly go over those as well. So next there is the MLS data sheet. This outlines what will be listed about your house on MLS. It should outline your legal names, the sale price of the house, the term of the agreement, the size of your lot, the legal description of your lot, property taxes, and a whole bunch of other details about your home. Now it's important that you review what's being put down on this because once you've initialed and signed that it's correct, you're legally bound to it. So let's say you stated that your taxes are $10,000 on the listing and you've initialed that and that ends up being incorrect. Well then once the house is sold, you could have issues if they feel that you misrepresented that. Finally, your real estate agent is going to ask for your ID. You can provide either a driver's license or a passport, but they're going to have to get that so that they can make sure that you really are who you say you are and that you are the person that owns the house. They'll also have to find out your current, or if you're retired, your past occupation. All of this is mandatory by the government. It's in an effort to track money laundering. So that's the listing paperwork explained, and I hope that you found that it was thorough and that you feel confident that you've understood it all. Remember, we always want to be transparent and have our clients understand 100% what they're signing. Now, if you did like the video and you feel that you did learn anything, I'd appreciate it if you would like it and hopefully share it around. Remember, I would do it for you. So until our next video, take good care and we'll talk to you soon.